Hello and welcome to episode number 36 of the Wise Guys podcast. I am John Torrelli with my co-host Brandon Capizzello and Justin Ray. Today we have a lot to talk about, recapping week 5 of the NFL season. This morning breaking news isn't that surprising. The Panthers are parting ways with Matt Rhule. Baker Mayfield has a high ankle sprain B-cap. It's not looking good. The Cowboys, is this a new year? Or are the Rams feeling that Super Bowl hangover? It seems like they are. J-Ray's top 5 NFL teams after week 5, and a Sunday night football reaction. As we're sitting here watching the Raiders beat up on these Chiefs, Justin, how are you feeling? You had this team getting the W today.
Listen, man, I have this hat still next to me. I needed an excuse to put it on, so I'm waiting for Josh Jacobs to score a second touchdown because I said he'd score multiple. But I'm feeling good, and it's tough to feel completely confident because, you know, the Chiefs can make any lead vanish just like that. But the Raiders are looking good. I'm feeling great today. How are you guys?
You weren't here yesterday, were you, when I reacted to the Steelers' loss?
No.
You know, outside the Steelers just not looking good right now, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, you knew that was coming anyway.
Yeah. He didn't. He should have known, but he doesn't know.
B-Cap, how's your week?
My football season sucks, but let's get on to it. Let's go.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, let's skip the pleasantries and just get into it.
So, like I said before, Matt Rhule is a coach that turned around Temple within 3 years. Then goes on to Baylor and does the same exact thing. In the NFL, many fans this year had some little hope that he could do the same thing with Baker, two guys with their backs against the wall, looking to change the narrative around their name, surrounding them. Ultimately, the Panthers are 1-4, and not only that, they've just done a terrible job the last 3 years. The quarterback room has been a constant carousel from Kyle Allen to PJ Walker, and so many guys in between Lane and Baker Mayfield. B-Cap, I know you're not very high in Matt Rhule. You called him, a fraudulent head coach, something along those lines. And Baker now is going to be out for some time. Sam Darnold is still on IR, and according to Rhule last week, is nowhere close to returning. So for Carolina, what is next with no Baker?
Well, PJ Walker is going to get the start. I don't think any of us are going to – I don't think any of us are going to sit here, or John Standing in his case, and say that we're surprised that Matt Rhule, is – been relieved of his duties. Nobody's surprised. I think the most surprising thing is that Ben McAdoo still has a job. And they fired the defensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, which is a little insane because the defense has definitely not been the problem this season for the Panthers. The defense has actually played very, very well, which I said that they were going to before the season started. I do want to correct you, John. When you first stated off that there were some people that believed Matt Rhule could help elevate this team with Baker coming in. Nobody thought that. Nobody and their grandmother thought that. The only people that thought that there was going to be provided a spark was because Baker was coming in to the Carolina Panthers. Matt Rhule has been an absolute disappointment. He's a college head coach. He'll probably get a job offer in the next, month or so or a couple weeks from a high-level college, and he'll have a job in no time. But in terms of the Panthers going forward, Baker's going to be out a couple weeks with due to a high ankle sprain. Again, he showed his toughness, and he played the whole second quarter on that, even with that ferocious defensive line from the 49ers and that terrible Panthers O-line. But yeah, they're going to go along with PJ Walker. I don't really see any more success for PJ Walker. What the hell is he going to do? He can move a little bit more than Baker can, but that's not going to really provide you that much. The Panthers are going to be what they are right now. It's not a very good team. Who do they play next week? They got a tough-ass matchup.
Should they trade Christian McCaffrey if they can get a second or third round, let's say a good third round pick, so mid-day 2? The reports are that the Bills are very interested among other teams, but according to Tom Pelissero, they're not interested. I would look to move CMC right now, given the money he's going to be getting paid. And It's a running back. It's not going to last very long in the NFL.
I mean, I wouldn't trade him for a second or third rounder. I'm going for a first rounder. I'm treating Christian McCaffrey like a Devontae Adams. This guy can catch the ball and run the ball in the backfield. We've seen him at his absolute height. He's a 1,000 guy. So I'm not trading him unless it's a first round pick. Other than that, he's going to stay on that team and he's going to provide, ticket sales. People are going to come to watch Christian McCaffrey play football. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to trade him unless I'm getting the highest value for it.
But that's the thing. I can't compare this guy to Devontae Adams because Devontae Adams is on the field.
Christian McCaffrey,
the best ability is availability, and we can't. He hasn't had the greatest track record of staying on the field, and I know this not just from just watching the games. I had him on my fantasy team, so I felt the impact too. But you can't value this guy as I mean, I get it. Okay, if Buffalo, which is the rumor that Buffalo has reached out to the Panthers about trading for him, if Buffalo was willing to trade a first-round pick for him, I mean, I feel like they can bite that bullet. But like John said, for a running back who's making a ton of money, who has injury concerns, I don't know if you'd want to part with a big-time first-round pick.
And beyond that, number one, I would move CMC as fast as I can. He'd be a great fit in Buffalo. B-Cap, you're very critical of quarterbacks that can't stay on the field. Not everyone's built to play professional football or just any professional sport. The amount of wear and tear, the toll on your body is incomprehensible to most physically. Baker Mayfield can't stay on the damn field. The last 2 years, he has been awful, and that's through injuries. So I want to know for you, are you any more out on Baker, given he's had all these injury issues in the last couple of years, the pec, the shoulder, now it's the ankle, there's a knee somewhere in there as well. It's just one thing after another.
No concern whatsoever. It's not his fault he's getting injured. I mean, there's the O-line. It's his fault he's getting injured?
But Tua had a terrible offensive line. You held that against him last year. You weren't blaming on the offensive line in Miami.
Okay, but Tua's had a history of being injured and not being able to go on the field. Baker played. Baker played the whole season last year. You act like Baker missed time. He played the whole season. He played through an ankle sprain
to his team's demise.
Okay, but still he played. You're acting like he didn't play. He played through the injury, though. Yes, there's injury concerns, but he's playing through the injury, is what I'm saying. And yes, he didn't play well the last season and this season, but again, the injury to his shoulder was caused by him going for a tackle, and then this one was caused by two linemen basically kind of high-lowing him. It could happen to any player. It's not like it's happening every drive. He's getting up and he's like, oh, grimacing and oh, like that. That's not what's happening right now. It's one thing that's happening. I don't see injury concern.
Daniel Jones is playing through injury and winning games. That's the bottom line.
Okay, but the fact that you're saying, I mean, the fact that the reports are saying he'll be back in a couple weeks, and the initial report from Mac Jones, which I guess they're similar injuries, high ankle sprains. Mac Jones was said to be out like 6 to 8 weeks. Baker's is a couple weeks, his report. Again, goes to the testament of Baker not really being injury prone. He'll be back as fast as he possibly can.
And last year, he was missing no time. He was awful. He was one of the worst, if not the worst starter in the entire league. So sure, Baker's going to do everything he can to get back in a contract year, but it's not helping his teams. It is the issue. The Browns are a contender. They have been. Last year, they missed the playoffs because of Baker getting injured and playing like crap. This year,
just Baker though, right?
Yes.
Nobody else was injured. Nobody else was injured on that team.
They were still able to run for 100 plus yards with Dearness Johnson, and their receiving core is very good until they had to move on from Odell because he couldn't work with Odell.
Okay.
You know, his stock dropped so low in these first 5 games with the Panthers, so much that next season he's
a backup.
He's a backup. Yeah. He's going into free agency, just looking for anybody that's willing to take him on to stand behind somebody.
You look at,
he'll be holding a clipboard.
Look at Ryan Tannehill. He had an incredible run in 2019, much like Baker did in 2020, when comeback player of the year. Now we're looking at Ryan Tannehill as a low-level bridge quarterback.
Right.
Daniel Jones right now is winning games. We're looking at him as a bridge quarterback.
Don't say we.
Same
Don't
for
group
Baker.
me in we. I never looked at Ryan Tannehill as nothing, and I never look at Daniel Jones as nothing. Like, don't group we. I don't get caught up in these recency biases like you two do. I'm not going to do.
Yeah, but even the 2 seasons for Ryan Tannehill were better than anything that Baker's put up.
Okay.
Is he a better quarterback than Baker? I'd say so.
I would say so.
I don't think so.
Tannehill's steady. I can know what I'm getting from him week to week. With Baker, I have really no idea.
That's not true at all. We've seen multiple times Ryan Tannehill fall apart.
Yeah, but we know his limitations. We already know that.
Okay, but you guys are talking like you know Baker's limitations too. So what are we talking about here?
I mean, he's showing us new lows.
And what year is Tannehill in again? How many years has he been in the NFL?
Yeah, he's been in the league for a while.
A decade?
Yeah. How many years has Baker been in the league?
5.
All right, then.
I mean, I don't think it really proves much what you just said.
How does that not prove much? He's had a much longer career to pan out. So you're looking at all that. Baker's had 5 years in the NFL so far. And again, Ryan Tannehill's resurgence was because of what? Ryan Tannehill started playing better, or was it the coaching staff around him? Mike,
he was on a much better team. He was no longer being coached by Adam Gase.
Where's Baker gone? Where's Baker on right now?
Yeah, but at the same time, Baker went from Cleveland. He was in a perfect situation.
No, stop, because you're
no. It was a perfect situation.
Perfect.
And the only person that ruined his situation was him.
Yeah. Oh, him. So we had this conversation last week. Again, we're gonna do this again. Play revenge.
No. But it's the fact.
You don't get it.
If he's not consistent, nobody's gonna like.
Time out.
He lost to Chad Henne in a playoff game. So the Browns were saying, okay. He lost to Chad Henne in a playoff game. And the Browns
Henne played like 2 drives, and you're saying he lost to Chad Henne.
Well, you say games get won in the final minutes. That's what Baker does. If he wins games and he's clutch when it matters, he's going to beat him.
You're saying Chad Henne won the game when he played 2 drives.
The point being, he could not get done for the Browns. He was the limiting factor in that offense.
I want to ignore that point. Again, why do I have to keep doing this and bring this up to you guys? Like, you act like
you sound like a broken record. We know.
No, you guys sound like the broken record because you ignore everything that's happened and just focus on that part.
Not every quarterback gets what Baker got. He had the entire 9 yards.
So it's all Baker's fault.
Oh, the franchise didn't believe
Time out. No, because I'm done with John right now because I understand where John stands. Justin just came out for no reason because last week he was not seeing what John was saying, but now this week he's completely flipped and he's now on. It was completely Baker's fault in Cleveland, and he was solely the
I'm not saying it was completely Baker's fault. I literally said that things went south because of him.
That's what I'm saying. You're solely
his personality, his situation was all his doing.
So let me ask you this: if he doesn't get injured and they play well, is he gone?
Probably not, but I still believe they're looking for somebody else.
The season before that, I've never seen this before. So we had one
I don't feel like Cleveland saw after year 2. Even I'm going to say after year 2. I think there were legit concerns from Cleveland front office about whether or not this is the guy. And while yes, he put up a great year 3, that was an incredible year 3.
It wasn't incredible. It was.
Well, I'm saying for the team. For the team,
it was.
The team had a nice season.
For him personally,
it was.
And when you go into year 4,
21,
you've already been
3 interceptions is not great.
Listen, he's already been, I guess, a headache to front office.
See, you're saying that I don't believe that he has been a headache to the front office. I believe the front office really just I don't know. Maybe they didn't vibe with his personality. But I feel like they gave up on him way too soon. I feel like this is a guy who came in his rookie season, like I've stated before, won 7 games for a team. And I was correct on you before, John. We were talking about this and you recorrected me, but I was actually correct. They went 0-16 the season they got Baker. They went 1-15 the season before that. So they were 1-30 in the last 2 seasons. Baker comes in, gets benched as the number 1 overall quarterback for Tyrod freaking Taylor, Hugh Jackman or Jackson, whatever the hell his name is, made that decision, gets benched, wins 7 games for his rookie season. All right. So this team hadn't won. This team won 1 game in 2 seasons, and he goes out and wins 7 freaking games for them his rookie year. We're going to ignore that. Second season has a down year. Freddie Kitchens is in, a new OC, a new head coach. Goes into his 3rd year, has the best season of his career with Kevin Stefanski. I think it's 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They go on that 8-3 run, all those things or whatever. They beat the Steelers, and then they are a couple of mistakes away from beating the Chiefs and going to the AFC Championship game. Again, we're going to ignore that. Then we go to year.
Are we going to
4.
ignore
No,
that he
then
came in the same time as 2 All-Pros and Denzel Ward and Nick Chubb?
I'm
that
pretty
they
sure,
invested
John,
fully in
I'm pretty
offensive
sure,
line
John,
free
that
agency?
you have said
You didn't even mention those
specifically.
things.
I'm pretty sure that you have said specifically that quarterbacks need things surrounding them. So now we're going to hold it against Baker that he has people surrounding him.
I'm acknowledging the
let's say
fact he had a great team.
No, but I want
and
consistency.
his second year with that great.
I want-
he had consistency and he missed the playoffs with consistency.
Okay, so I want you to evaluate Josh Allen's first 2 years the same exact way you're evaluating Baker's, because it's the same thing. He had the terrible 2 first seasons. All right. Baker had a much better rookie season than him. And then he gets Stephon Diggs, and you want to discount that. So I want consistency. Right now, I want consistency. Hold it up. Why is Josh Allen more successful now? Because of Stephon Diggs. You won't hold that against him, but you want to hold the Baker and 2 All-Pros and those guys coming in. Did Baker and Odell connect really well? Actually, I'm sure Baker went on that run, and the Browns went on that one when Odell went down. Is that not a fact? That is a fact.
That's probably partially on the quarterback, the guy that's throwing the football.
So yeah,
we're going to blame
the guy under center solely. I don't blame Baker and I don't blame Odell solely. I blame them equally that they didn't mesh and it wasn't a good partnership. That's what I believe. But you want to believe just Baker because I like Baker, and so you now have to have your agenda of you have to attack Baker at all costs because I'm putting him up a little bit. But that's fine. Go ahead, John.
The reason we get into these 15-minute Baker Mayfield debates is not because I have an agenda against him. It's because you're delusional when it comes to Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen is a better quarterback as consistently he has put up MVP caliber seasons. Baker Mayfield has one good run, much like a Ryan Tannehill had in 2019 or in 2016 when he brought the Dolphins to the playoffs, and he has 2 crap years since. When you look at the last 2 years, what has happened recently, he has been one of, if not the worst quarterback in football. Baker's name ring. He's a high character guy with a great story, and people love him for his incredible turnaround as a walk-on at where was Texas Tech and so on and so forth. But in the NFL, he's just not that good of a quarterback. And I know he's a name ring, he's exciting, and he had a tantalizing run on a great team where ultimately he was the limiting factor. But you have to acknowledge the fact he played a key role in the Browns' downfall. I'm not saying it was all his fault. Nobody is. But he was the biggest reason why. His inability to bring them over the top at the highest levels. That's it.
And you know, and you say, so we just forget about his rookie season. Oh, we just forget about year 3. But it's not what you did for me then. It's what are you going to do for me now? What are you giving me now? And if you're not that same quarterback that you were in year 3, you're not bringing that same type of impact that you brought in year 1. And you scoff at it, but it's true.
I'm scoffing at the fact, again, you're forgetting the most important thing is that the guy played with a torn labrum and a fractured shoulder. Like again, we're ignoring these things. I guess.
Okay, but what about this year?
All right, so no, that's what I want to say. That's fine. This year is fine. That I have stated before. Again, you're trying to come at me like I haven't stated. I stated.
No, I'm not. It's just,
I tweeted it out and I said Baker has not played this well this season. I said that. Okay. But what you guys are going to do is going to sit here and ignore the injuries, which is fine. If that's what you're going to do, that's fine. I'm going to take note of that. And I want you to keep that same consistency going forward as we do this show. When somebody is injured, I'm going to bring this up to you and you have no argument or rebuttal back because you're using that and you're ignoring that fact. So I just want consistency. That's all. Going forward, I want consistency.
No. Listen, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about Cleveland Baker. I don't. And nor should any of us. Because guess what? Cleveland Baker doesn't exist anymore. It's Carolina Baker. And yes, he's regressed. So yes, he played with an injury. I understand that. Now he's in Carolina and he's healthy. and he's playing terrible football. So now the real concern is this Baker? Is this him?
I don't believe so.
So then, please answer this. What is real Baker? Is real Baker going to show up next year, or maybe 4 or 5 games from now, whenever he comes back, or is that it? Because at this point, I don't know what to expect from Baker. I can't say we're going to get year 3 Baker.
I can answer that only because this is what I will answer it with, because I don't know. It's TBD. TBD, because I have no idea what the future holds. I don't know what I don't know what Steve Wilkes, I believe that's his name, the new interim head coach for the Panthers. I don't know if he maybe provides a nice spark for this Panthers team. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know. Do they trade CMC? Do they trade DJ Moore? Do they literally blow up the whole team? So now what does Baker even have to work with when he comes back? He's even got less than what he was before, when you guys have said, and I said, he's playing not very good. And then next season you say, well, what are his options? You said that he's going to be a backup quarterback next year. So is he even going to get a chance to show that he can, make a comeback and have a rebirth type thing? I don't know. Maybe he has to hope for an injury. TBD.
It just feels like this Carolina train is going nowhere fast, and they need to I think they really need to just rip up shop.
That's a pretty good note to end that on. Secondly, we have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They have won 4 straight games with a backup quarterback in Cooper Rush that had just 1 total NFL career start. During that stretch, they have beaten a handful of teams that are all in the playoff mix. The Giants, 2 weeks ago, they were 4-1. The Commanders. And then yesterday, they beat the defending Super Bowl champions in the Rams convincingly with a defense that looks to be a bona fide top 5 unit. J. Ray, you came out a few weeks ago and apologized for your reaction to their slow or bad performance in week 1. Are the Cowboys contenders to make a run? I'm not even talking the Super Bowl. Can they change the narrative of a franchise that has not won playoff games by at least making it to the NFC Championship game?
Oh, man, NFC Championship game is crazy. But, yeah, I have to say, damn, it's crazy. This is we're going into week 6 now? And after week 1, I said they were done. And now in week 6, I'm calling them a contender. But, yeah, I have to. I didn't anticipate this defense being nearly as good as they are right now. And Cooper Rush is winning games. The guy's undefeated as a starter right now. Dak Prescott, your MVP, should be back soon. I think the sky's the limit right now. Why not? They're healthy. They're playing good football. They literally, like you said, convincingly beat the defending champions. Damn. I hate to say it, but yes, the Cowboys, America's team, can make a run. And next week is the big show for them against Philadelphia, going into Philadelphia. Why not? This defense is too good to lose with. They didn't have this in years past.
I wonder who could have predicted that before the season. Was it you? Oh, it was this guy right here. This guy said that. I said this defense is going to be a top-notch defense. I said they're not done after week 1. Interesting developments happening. Listen, that Rams-Cowboys game, right out of the gate, the Rams started behind the 8 ball. I mean, they had the fumble 6 on the first drive, and then they had a blocked punt. I mean, they're lucky they didn't go down 14-0. Lucky it was only 9-zip. They had a missed PAT, the Cowboys did. The O-line for the Rams held up solid for a little bit, but then it just kind of poured on towards the end. And I think a little bit had to do, something that had a little bit to do with that was Micah probably being out for a couple of plays with the groin injury. But damn, that kid is a fighter. I mean, even with the groin injury, he was working every offensive lineman that the Rams had to throw at him. That kid is insanely special. The Rams run game was non-existent again, 15 for 38 yards. That's 2.8 a carry. Allen Robinson, another no-show. And I texted you guys this over the last weekend because I heard Dan Orlovsky say this stat, and I thought it was a pretty telling stat because we couldn't figure out what the hell is going on with Allen Robinson and why the performance really isn't up to par of what everybody expected from him and what his contract says his numbers should be. He's getting paid like $14-15 million. Allen Robinson ranked 144 out of 145 in yards per separation in the last 2 years, counting this season. He's just not getting open. So it looks like that signing for Allen Robinson was a bad idea. It looks like the trading of Robert Woods was a bad idea. The defense was unable to get a turnover all game on Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush really didn't even do much. I mean, 10 for 16, 102 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Just really game managed the game away. The defense played incredible. The run game was pretty good. Zeke was a solid. Pollard 8 for 86, and he had that 57-yard touchdown that was just breaking tackles. But yeah, this Rams team is not looking well. McVay realizes it after the game. He was basically saying, like, this team needs to play better. The team needs to have Stafford help Stafford out a lot more because Stafford is not getting a lot of help besides Cooper Kupp. It's really just Stafford to Cooper Kupp is this offense. Just a stat to throw at you, and then John, you can go. In this last game against the Cowboys, Stafford, when pressured, he was 6 for 15 for 59 yards and an interception. When he wasn't pressured, 22 of 27 for 249 yards and a touchdown. The line's got to play better. And I think they've had like 9 different groups, if I'm not mistaken, for their first 5 games.
John, before you go, I want to highlight one thing that Brandon said because he's touched on Cooper Rush's stats of 10 for 16, 102, just game managed the crap out of the game. And I think that's one of the good things about this Dallas team. Your quarterback doesn't seem to – you don't need to do too much. You're not asking too much out of Cooper Rush. And that's scary because when Dak Prescott comes back and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Schultz are getting really involved in the action, they can really take off. I think if they can match their offensive numbers like last year with the defense that they have in place, I think this team might be able to steal this division from Philly.
The Cowboys aren't contenders. They just aren't. You look at their matchups, their wins, the Rams, the Giants, the Bengals. All of those teams have been tremendous matchups for their defense. Or better yet, they've played a team in Cincinnati who has a poor, inadequate offense with bad play calling. They haven't actually beaten a Philadelphia, a San Francisco, a Tampa Bay. Against Tampa with Dak Prescott, they look dead in the water. There's no denying this Cowboys defense is the best unit they've had in quite some time. But when we're looking at true contenders, the groups that can take you to the highest of highest in playoffs, Tennessee, they made a crazy run, but they have Mike Vrabel, coach of the year. I'm not putting my money in Dak Prescott coming off of injury and Mike McCarthy. Now, kudos to Mike. He currently is firmly into the coach of the year discussion because of the fact he's won 4 straight with a backup quarterback. But this Dallas team has to prove it to us. They have to show us. Last year, they lost to a game manager in Jimmy Garoppolo, and this team is not better than what it was in years past. Some players have developed, some players have gone, and ultimately, Dak Prescott is going to come back from injury and probably be a little bit rusty early on initially. And there's still a lot left to be seen because they haven't played Philadelphia in either of those 2 matchups. And out of all the teams that they've beaten thus far, none of them were impressive groups. Like I said before, Philadelphia's 5-0 right now. I think next week they're going to beat the Giants by 2, or they're going to beat the Cowboys by 2 scores.
All right. See, this is where I got to stop you. What the hell are you talking about, dude? Are the Philadelphia Eagles contenders, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. That offensive line is one of the best in football.
Stop. I asked you a simple yes or no question. No need to elaborate because your argument is dog crap at best. You just sat here and said that the Cowboys' strength of schedule is the reason why they're not contenders. I give you the Philadelphia Eagles schedule. They played the Lions, who have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They played the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins in prime time and we all know Kirk Cousins in primetime games is absolute ass. They played the Commanders, who have been terrible this season. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then they played the Arizona Cardinals. Do you know this Eagles team is spanning from last season to that they are still winless against playoff teams?
Yeah,
They haven't even
Jaguars
played a
win was
playoff.
impressive.
Okay, that's an impressive win. Okay. They haven't played anybody either. Like, okay, you said the Jaguars game is impressive. How impressive is it? Like, is it really
Coming back from behind
impressive?
in a game with terrible weather conditions, that
Okay,
showed the resilience of that Philadelphia
What's
team.
more
and
impressive?
How they can.
What's more impressive, that or the fact that the Cowboys have won 4 straight games with a backup quarterback?
It's fair.
Like, are we? And Michael Gallup just got back. Tyron Smith is still out. Like, what?
So are you calling the Cowboys contenders?
I'm not calling any of these NFC East teams contenders. I've stated that before. None of these teams are winning a Super Bowl this year. Sorry to burst your guys' bubble, but that's not happening. But that's another discussion for another day.
You just popped my cousin's happiness right there, because I was watching the football game with my cousin, and he's a big Eagles fan, and he goes, "Man, I'm really looking into getting Super Bowl tickets."
Yeah, no, because just remind them the fact that they haven't played any legitimate team yet. They're still winless against playoff teams. So call me when they play a real team. Same, the Cowboys can be said too. But John, you can't sit here and say that for the Cowboys and say they're not contenders, and then sit here with the Eagles and say they are contenders when they've had just as weak of a schedule.
They've just been more impressive, and I think Philadelphia is a more complete team. That offensive line, the defensive front are ridiculous, and the secondary is elite. A.J. Brown is one of the deadliest weapons. He's better than CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
And Jalen Hurts, call me crazy, I'd rather have him as my quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, no.
Already,
no.
I'm taking him over Dak.
No. But even this, you got to ask yourself, who is elite in the NFC?
NFC East
San Francisco.
Or NFC?
In the NFC.
Oh.
Who's elite?
The Buccaneers.
And?
The Buccaneers.
Okay, so if you see only one team, I only see two. I see the Buccaneers and the 49ers as the top dogs in the NFC. Now, I really don't think the Eagles are that far behind.
Uh-huh.
I think the Eagles are better than the Bucs.
No, I think the one thing that's going to draw them back is Jalen Hurts.
So if you see only one elite team in the NFC, who's number two?
Yeah, it's a dogfight for number two. That's why I have the Bucs.
Has to be the Eagles, right? Because Minnesota's frauds.
Yeah, don't bring the Minnesota Vikings up when we're talking about these type of teams. Okay, that's fine. Call me when Kirk Cousins actually plays good and wins a primetime game, because those are playoff games, and history shows us, right?
I do want to say a contender can be a team that makes it to a conference championship. You don't have to go to the Super Bowl to be a contender.
I'm not judging.
If the Bengals last year lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, we'd still be calling them contenders.
I'm judging Super Bowl. I'm judging Super Bowl.
But if you're a game away from the Super Bowl, to me, anything can happen in one game. You're just a contender.
Okay.
A contender is one that's in position, and that very much is in position.
Okay. But
let me defend the Birds real quick, because I really think that you're disrespecting the talent that they have around them. When you got Slay and Bradbury back there on defense, the DBs are no joke.
Me?
They're fine. Yeah, the Eagles are elite to me.
What did I say about their position players that is not good?
No, I'm not talking about the position players. I'm just trying to point to you that they can be contenders with the team that they have.
You don't have to explain to me. I know that they have a very good team. My major drawback was Jalen Hurts as their quarterback, being a consistent passer for 17 full weeks and going into the playoffs. And the fact
what does he look like now?
That's fine. It's week 6 going into week 6. What teams have they really played that's given?
Okay, regardless of the team, he's playing like an MVP.
Okay, that's fine. We've seen that before. We'll see if he keeps it going. That's what I just tried to say before you cut me off. Again, I'm getting cut off as I'm saying you just cut me off. I said I need to see it through a 17-week schedule into the playoffs, and he has yet to beat a playoff team. Call me when that happens.
It's not even the MVP candidacy, but it's Jalen Hurts' attitude, his approach, the mindset he comes in week to week with. That's what makes me have a full vote of confidence in him sustaining this, because that kid is an absolute workhorse.
Yep. I never said that. Never said that. I believe that 100%. I agree with your sentiments right there. I said consistent as a passer. That is my drawback. That's it. Nothing about his intangibles. I believe in his intangibles. I believe all that. I believe he's a winner. I believe he's a leader. My drawback is consistent passer, especially against elite defenses and elite teams. That's a fair concern. That's a fair concern. That is a fair concern.
You're totally justified. I think I'm more the reactionary type, not over exceedingly. And you were the one who wants to wait.
Yes, you guys both are. You guys both are.
I mean, but the guy's progressed since he's been in the league every single time. So, I mean,
he's on a clipboard 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's bringing a clear spark to the Philadelphia team. Obviously, John, you said it. He's a leader. I can't see this team has just as much talent as the Bucs.
Yeah, but they don't have Tom Brady under center.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
How much longer are we going to be able to say that as the veto?
What the hell are you talking about? How long? As long as Tom Brady still has 7 championships to his name, I'm going to say that. That's why, because his history speaks for it, that he's going to be there. And yes, are you asking me, do I trust Tom Brady over Jalen Hurts late in games? You're goddamn right I am.
Threw 1 touchdown against the Falcons.
Congratulations, Justin. I cannot believe you as the paid long.
I'm trolling you, bro. I am trolling you. But my point is, first off, and I've said it, the Bucs haven't looked nearly as great as they should be. So just saying, and I think every team in the NFC is beatable, even the Bucs. There is no team that absolutely scares me in the NFC.
Any team is beatable in the whole NFL, but it's who do you have most faith in? And I'm going to take the guy who's done it for 20 plus years and at a high level, the highest level.
Talking trophies, Jerry, it's about darn time you give us your top 5 teams in the NFL. I have to note, while we're live, the Chiefs, they're marching down the field, but they're down 20-10 against McDaniels and the Raiders. So we'll take that into account. Chiefs are probably going to lose this game. Oh, I shouldn't say probably. It's just the start of the second half.
You just jinxed it now. Now the Raiders are about to get smoked.
Yeah.
Do we have my previous top 5? I wish I had some ESPN music playing in the background because Brandon wants – there you go. You're going to give it?
I literally just blanked on the ESPN sound. I'm sorry.
All right. For number 1, I think this is obvious, clear as day. They just beat the living daylights out of John's Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to go with Buffalo.
Where are we starting? Are we starting number 5 or 1?
1 to 5.
Okay, we're starting 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Thanks for the build up, Justin. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so they just beat the daylights out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're world beaters. They proved Brandon wrong, and they won a 1-possession game the other day against the Ravens. Josh Allen is literally the best quarterback in football. I will say that. I will die on that hill. He is the best quarterback in football today. Gabriel Davis is kicking it on. Torch the Steelers. Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. Once the running game gets going, there's no telling this team should be locks for the AFC title game. And if they don't get there, it'll be a massive failure. Plus, you're playing with probably a top 5 defense as well. This team is scary. Josh Allen is probably playing the best football in his life right now. And that's saying a lot after the last 2 seasons. How can he get better? I didn't even think it was possible, but he is. For number 2, I got the team playing right now, the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though they're down 20-10, whether they lose this game or not, I still view them at number 2. Andy Reid is the head coach. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, and they just always find ways to win. You can't, John said before this, when they were down 14-10, before we recorded, he was like, Justin, are you feeling confident? And I was like, yeah. But at the same time, in the beginning of the show, I said, the Chiefs can make any lead just disappear with a snap of a finger. So the Chiefs are my number 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it's those 2 teams right there in the AFC title game for another playoff rematch. Everybody would die to see it, and they play next week. At number 3, We just touched on them. I got the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think there's a lot of teams out there playing better football than they are. The only undefeated team left in the NFL today, and they're just playing good football. They were down against the Jaguars. They made an epic comeback, and they showed the world that, hey, even when we're down, we're still in a game. They beat the Arizona Cardinals, which is a guarantee. And I've said it before on the show, you got to beat the teams that are below you. If you start losing games to those teams, that's when it's a problem. So the Eagles are doing just that. They have a big divisional game this week against the Cowboys, and I think they take that too. I think the Eagles keep on rolling. I have them at number 3. At number 4, I got to go with Tom Brady and the Bucs, because any team with Tom Brady under center, you just can't doubt them. They're rolling. Threw for over 300 plus yards last week. While, yes, I got on him for just 1 touchdown pass, but they're winning. Mike Evans is healthy. And has there ever been a more underrated receiver than Mike Evans? This guy consistently goes out there. He's a future Hall of Famer, and nobody gives him enough attention. The Bucs are legit, and if they're healthy, they'll go a long way. And number 5, they're still there. I will not take them out because I believe in the San Francisco 49ers. I believe in them. Jimmy G is my guy. The guy wins football games, and guess what? He's the starter, and what have they done? Win. Just win. Besides that ugly game against the Broncos, they just win football when he's under center, and they absolutely dominated the Panthers. That's a given. But the week before that, him going out there, still getting used to everything, not really having much of an offseason with the 49ers and beating the Rams, he just really showed you guys that this team is legit with him there. They don't need another guy. Jimmy G is their guy. Next week, they got the Falcons and then a big show with the Chiefs. I got the 49ers number 5, and who knows? Maybe they'll be number 3 at some point. Any objections?
I thought it was a tremendous list, Justin.
Thank you, sir.
J. Ray kicked that one strong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, due to the fact that like every team has been, it's kind of reminiscent of last year where every team has like this major fatal flaw and they've all had these crappy performances already. I guess it's a good list, but kind of by default, because does the Green Bay Packers look good? No. The Cowboys don't have their starting quarterback. The Chargers have been injury ravished, and Brandon Staley's still the head coach. Cincinnati still hasn't figured out the offensive line. Baltimore blowing 2 major comebacks. Tua is out for Miami. Denver hasn't looked like it. Like, I guess by default, Justin, yeah.
I think it's just a clear-cut top 5 because of all that.
Except I put the Bucs number 1 because,
it's hard to mess this up because even if you have a different order, you might have Kansas City below Tampa or what have you. At the end of the day, outside the top 5, what team? The Rams, the Bengals, the Vikings, none of them are jumping ahead of San Francisco or Philadelphia with the level they're playing right now. So I feel like I will say, if I can make any note, I would have San Francisco above the Buccaneers and the Bucs at 5. But other than that, I had really no objections with the ordering. And now real quick, before we go a little bit deeper into the episode, we're going to shout out our new sponsors on the show at BetStamp. Coming into this game, the Chiefs were varying from 6.5 to 10-point favorites, depending on what the sports book was. And that's the unique thing about BetStamp. There are a variety of sports books out there. And when you're doing anything, whether it's sports betting or just playing the sport itself, you want to be the best at it. You want to maximize your profit, and you want to get just the most out of your time. And with BetStamp, you have, especially with someone that likes visuals, all of those sports books in one place. All you have to do is just download the BetStamp app and use our referral code at WiseGuys. That's WISEGUYS. And you can see their entire catalog of the best odds from all over the sports betting market. And most of all, you get to educate yourself on something that's going to make you money. So I'm a big fan of BetStamp. Anything else before we move further on?
That's it.
All good.
No more objections with Justin's list outside Tampa being too low?
No, I can't really.
That's the first time Brandon's liked something that I've
That's
created.
a lie. You forgot about the Jaguars one, but it's okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's right.
I guess you and John have real memory problems. You guys probably should think about those issues, Go ahead,
On to the
Jonathan. Go ahead, Jonathan.
So, pick'em this last week. It was a good one for your boy John over here. I've been doing pick'em for about 3 years now, and not once have I gotten more than 12 teams correct going to the week. I got 12 this week. So I was pretty close. If the Chiefs win this game, which they're now only down by 3 points, your boy, he jinxed them maybe. We'll see. He'll have 13. So currently in our standings in our league, well, J-Ray this week had 9 points. B-Cap had 7. I think I'm in the lead. I can't quite check on the Yahoo Fantasy Sports app.
You're 49-29. Justin is 42-36. I am 37-41.
If you didn't bet on the Panthers so much, you'd probably be right neck and neck with us.
That's fine.
I think that's my only objection. And this last week for us, we had a crazy upset in the NFL that I predicted and J-Ray predicted. Well, J-Ray on bet. The thing was, J-Ray had the Giants winning, but he didn't actually go in and put his bet where his mouth was on the Yahoo Sports app by having the Giants beating the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
And let me tell you guys, primetime football Sunday morning, Daniel Jones and Brian Dable did the impossible. The Giants are 4-1. They have the second most wins in the entire NFC. And what's so special about that is this team's not even trying to win games. And with Dable calling the plays, there's new life, energy, and creativity in this offense that last year was so desolate, I don't even have to talk about it. It was like watching paint dry on a wall. And what really stood out was Daniel Jones' toughness. Playing through injury, he was beaten, battered, and bleeding, and he still outplayed Aaron Rodgers. The Giants' defense made timely stops in the biggest moments, and without 4 of their top 6 receivers, Saquon Barkley just had another great game, adding to what has been an incredible season for him. My question for you guys is, are the Giants a playoff team?
It's crazy to say it, but like I said, in the way the NFC is shaping out, I don't see why it's not possible. They played that game. They didn't have anybody. They were injured. They had no weapons on the outside. Darius Slayton stepped up big time. Danny Dimes was just recovering from a sprained ankle. There was a point in time Saquon was out. This team, it has changed. This team has changed. And I'm from New York. I've seen this up front because I've had no choice but to be stuck watching the Jets and the Giants every damn Sunday on CBS and Fox. The Giants of yesteryear do not pull off these games. They do not win these games. And there's something special within this team. I'm not saying special like they're going to go out there and shock the world and win a Super Bowl, but this team is better than what we think they are. And going into the season, if you told me that the Giants were going to start the season 4-1, or the Jets were going to start the season 3-2, I would have laughed at you. I would have taken the opposite bet. I would have been like, all right, cool. Go waste your money on that one. But no, this Giants team is legit. Yeah, they lost to the Cowboys, but I think they're figuring themselves out every single game now. I think Dabo is having more trust in Daniel Jones. And more than that, I think Daniel Jones trusts his head coach too. I think they all trust each other. It seems like a family's going out there and fighting. I remember in week 1 when they scored a touchdown, seeing them react when Shepard and Saquon Barkley went over to the sideline to hug Dabo. And, dude, it just looked like something is different. Something is different. They care. They're all engaged. And I think this Giants team is talented, but most importantly, they're gritty and they're tough. So why not? Why not? Why can't they make the playoffs?
They exude toughness, Justin.
Yeah, definitely do. They're resembling this exactly what the city is. And I'm happy to say that I'm a New Yorker seeing this kind of football.
Friends had a meltdown.
You guys done with your
Here's negative
ignorance. I guess
Negative
ignorance
Nancy.
really is bliss. First, I just got to say, John started it off by saying that these Giants teams are not trying to win. I don't know about you, John, but I would imagine if you asked every Giants player on this current team and all their coaching staff that they would tell you that they are trying to win. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to play through the ankle injury and not try to win. So I would kind of pump the brakes on that. Yes, we can look at them and say that they're in a rebuild mode, which is a true statement. But to say that they're not going to win, they're not going out there trying to win, I think that's a little bit of a indictment on them. Now, for Justin says that if you would have told me they were 4-1 before the season, I would have laughed at you. But I would imagine Justin, I'm pretty sure you had them beating the Titans week 1. You definitely picked them over the Panthers week 2. I forget what you picked for the Giants-Cowboys game. I think you might have led.
Cowboys, I believe.
I think you were iffy on that one, though, because of Cooper Rush starting. You almost positive you picked him over the Bears. And then this past week, you were, again, another iffy one. So you say that you would have laughed at them, but again, I show you that their strength of schedule hasn't been that impressive. So this whole NFC East is getting an easy slate of games this season. I think this season is going to be a very outlier for these teams. Like, there's a legitimate chance that the Eagles can win their first 10, 11 games and be 11-10-0. And it's simply because they've got great matchups and they're playing not very good teams. I'm not going to overblow this Giants team. Daboll is doing a very good job. He's probably the lead for coach of the year so far. But yeah, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit here and now say, okay, I'm going to ignore the past 3 seasons or 4 seasons of Daniel Jones before and say, this is the guy?
Well, I don't think anybody is going into this saying this is the guy, not even myself. No, not even myself. Right. It's funny. So a buddy of ours, JQ, to the people watching, had texted us and he was like, listen, I don't know what the future holds for Daniel Jones, but one thing I do know is this guy goes out there and lays it all on the line. Mm-hmm. And he does. Mm-hmm. So I can't say this guy is going to be the future of this team. I think we can all agree he's probably not. Yeah. But just got to tip your cap because the guy's tough as nails. He's going out there just playing winning football right now.
Daniel Jones gets his 5th-year option declined. And for him in the NFL, it's survival mode. He no longer was a commitment to the Giants, team that had spent the 6th overall pick on this guy just 3.5 years ago. Ultimately, what we're seeing from Daniel Jones is a quarterback that was a good prospect, but he wasn't great. He wasn't 6th overall pick, New York franchise quarterback material. But now you put in place a very good offense with the proper scheme and a great young head coach that has lit a fire under him, much like he has other quarterbacks in his past as a coach all over the NFL and collegiate ranks. And you're saying, this is what Daniel Jones really is. We can't evaluate him on the years with Jason Garrett and an inadequate roster around him where he was playing through injuries. This Giant team, yes, they're trying to win games, but they're in rebuilding mode. They're looking to get a top 10 pick or maybe move up for a top 10 pick to get themselves a franchise guy in the draft. Daniel Jones is playing his way into a new team, like the Panthers maybe. He's a Carolina or is a Charlotte kid, and the Panthers, with a new head coach, start to invest more into that offensive line along with Ike Mekwonu at left tackle. You can say, for many franchises, he can be an above-average quarterback that may be limited, but he's taking care of the football. He's extending plays in the move, making good, accurate throws on the run. And like you said, Justin, this kid will put it all on the line. He doesn't shy away from anything, even through a freaking ankle sprain.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Brandon, I know you said, why would I laugh at somebody if I've been picking them all these weeks? After week 1, I picked them as just an upset. And then watching them in that game, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this team is actually something's changing. So that's why I've been rolling with the Giants week to week. It's not because I had this ultimate undying faith in them in the beginning of the season. And by the way, my pick'em got freaking screwed thanks to your boy Russell Wilson not throwing to a wide open wide receiver over there for the game-winning touchdown. He had it. Pisses me off. Zero in on one side the whole way. Didn't even look for another read. unbelievable. I should be doing better in this pick'em.
Let's ride with a Sunday night football recap. Brandon asked us last night, Justin Tucker, the greatest or best kicker of all time? I said, yeah, just like a fool. I barely saw him Vinatieri play. And number one, the Bengals starting 2-3 have a coach in Zach Taylor, who is one of, if not the worst play caller in football. I have never seen a guy come in and basically try to replicate other offenses without the structure to build a good one. What great head coaches do with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd in the slot, Joe Mixon, is elevate them. They make those guys hit another level. Last year, it wasn't dynamic schematics. It was just Joe Burrow throwing that thing up to Jamar Chase, who made crazy, ridiculous plays. I watch Zach Taylor try to replicate the Philly special, then the Andy Reid goal line, flip shuffle pass to the tight end, and just the overall schematics of his offense, X's and O's wise. The guy probably has almost as much of a clue of what he's doing as I do. I mean, it's the most poorly designed offense in football. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a guru because I'm not a guru, but I have to say, with all the talent this Bengals team has to start 2-3, there is a clear issue here, and a little bit of it is Joe Burrow and the offensive line. But the biggest problem in Cincinnati has always been the head coach. It just has been. I'm going to head it over to you guys. The Bengals Super Bowl hangover, we all know, is real. Are the Bengals going to miss the playoffs?
Brandon, I'll let you take that one.
Well, again, when I look at the landscape of the AFC, they've got a lot of work to do. One thing I will say about the Bengals, this last game, their offense was just in the second half, 3 drives, 2 of them ended in 0 points. The Zach Taylor, you got to take the field goal. You got to take the points late in games when the points are there. It goes back to the Ravens-Bills game. You just got to take the points when they're there. But one thing that's very a major positive for this Bengals team, their defense in second halves for this season have allowed 0 points or 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns. So that's elite type stuff right there from the Bengals. That's winning football. The thing that they have to correct is this offensive line problem. And like John said, Zach Taylor, I do think that, and I said this before on the show, the finger will be pointed at him because they have the talent on the paper, and for some reason it's not happening on the field. And I feel bad for Joe Burrow because it's just he's getting beat up and torn to shreds. The offense doesn't look the same as it did last year. I mean, Jamar Chase, where are you? Can we find you? I don't know. You know, it's not looking good. I think that they can sneak into the. I'll say they're still a playoff team. I won't go that far out. They're a playoff team still, though.
But in actuality, the more I look at their schedule, I'm seeing the tail end of it. All right, on December 4th, they take on the Chiefs. Then they take on the Browns. I don't know if that's the game where Deshaun Watson is back. Do you guys know what day he's supposed to be back?
He's back week 13. So
Okay.
December something.
Last week of November, I think.
Okay, so for this game, he'll be back. It will be Deshaun Watson versus Joe Burrow on December 11th. Then he goes against the Buccaneers. Then he goes into New England, which is no tough place to play in. Then he goes up against Buffalo and ends his season against the Ravens. I think if the Raiders can find a way to pull this out, Miami gets healthy with Tua, and whoever's going to be coming out of the AFC South, really, I wish no team could make it from that division, but that's just not how things work. There's actually a place, a world, in where the Bengals really don't make it. In some multiverse, Brandon, the Bengals do not make the playoffs, and this might actually be it. I don't want to jump on that train and say they won't be there because I do believe in Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mixon, and all those boys. But it's not looking great.
Honestly, probably best case scenario is that they do miss the playoffs, so Zach Taylor gets fired. If we're going to be completely honest, because if they make the playoffs, they're probably going to keep going with him. And if they miss the playoffs, somebody's got to get the boot.
Can you imagine what this team be doing with Brian Dable?
Yep.
Mike McDaniel. I hate to say this because I'm going to do it with like half the league, it feels like, because of how special those two young coaches are. But for the Bengals, for the Chargers, the guys top 5, top 6 quarterbacks already, an insane star talent around the roster. This is a prime example of a coach who shouldn't be here. I don't want to take away, though, from the Ravens, who are the best team in this division. I think you guys would probably agree with me. They're going to win this thing.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins just coming back.
Yeah.
Secondary's just getting healthy. Patrick Queen showed a little bit of life of a pick.
They still have major that wasn't Patrick Queen, but Joe Burrow forced that completely. Like that was just a terrible read by Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It could have been any player in Patrick Queen's.
Well, he didn't drop it. He's been god awful.
He did miss a tackle late in the game though. I think Queen, third down. Yeah.
Queen's been a horrible pick.
Yeah. But yeah, there are major concerns for the Baltimore Ravens defense, the pass defense, and I should specify when I'm saying I've attacked the secondary, but John is correct. It's not just the secondary; it's the entire pass defense, which includes the pass rush. So I'm going to start saying pass defense. So I'm including the whole unit. It's still not been very good. They've had, they had that good game yesterday against the Bengals, and they had the good game against the Bills, but still, they have to show me a lot more before I can say, okay, they're fine.
It's not going to get much better. Marcus Williams dislocating his wrist.
Yeah, and Lamar's inconsistencies showed their heads with those 2 major overthrows that were wide open walk-in touchdowns. You just can't miss those throws. Excuse me. And I know people will say, well, you're fixating on those 2 throws. Well, I fixated on Tua, and I'm going to fixate it because those are the type of throws that are going to lose you games. Those are the type of throws that will win you games if you make them, win you championships. See Jimmy Garoppolo, prime example. You can't make those throws, you will cost your team. So Lamar, I know he came out, in the next drive, drove them for the field goal, and that's what Lamar does. I'm not questioning that. Lamar is a winner. He's got the intangibles. He's got that it factor about him. But it's the inconsistency on the passing that he needs to keep progressing. Because, again, we forget Lamar's still in the contract year. He's still trying to prove to these Ravens in the front office. Guess what? They'll point at those 2 passes and they'll say, but we're paying you all that money to pass the ball to, right? Well, that's inconsistency because they don't want to put in a 5-year contract and big time money for a quarterback or we sure is going to be healthy in the next 3 to 4 years the way he plays.
He's 26.
It's hard. But listen, they pulled out the win. Justin Tucker is, at this point, is it really even a question when he walks on the field? Is it really? Like, we know the outcome, right? Like, Justin Tucker's going to make it's – I remember this kid was drafted back in, 2011, 12? After they had the horrible thing of the Billy Cundiff kick. Remember that, Justin? Where Billy Cundiff freaking winged the 27-yard field goal. And now they've had a decade of Justin Tucker just being elite. And listen, man, he deserves all the money in the world for how clutch he is with that leg. I'm going to be honest, there's some players out there that I trust Justin Tucker's leg more than I trust them. And that's just crazy to say.
That's
it's money.
Out of confidence in the kicker, though.
Yeah. But it's that important. Think about how many games Justin Tucker has won these guys. Think about it. When you're that good at that position, and it's not even really close, like it's Justin Tucker and then everybody else. When you're that good.
I love how – I don't know if you heard, but after the game, he did say sorry to cut you off, but he did say that he'd be lying to us if he didn't say every time he goes out there to kick, he wasn't just a little nervous.
Yeah.
Every time he goes out.
He said that, but he says he follows his plan and he follows his schedule that or whatever that he usually does, his routine that he usually does, and he's got to go out there.
The second and a half from snap to hold to kick. I mean, he is going to have a media career. Him and Pat McAfee are two guys that are so
He's a
entertaining
Hall
to
of
listen
Famer.
to.
He's a Hall of Famer. Or Justin Tucker's first ballot Hall of Famer.
10 years in, he wasn't drafted. 2012 to now, by far. If only they had him a couple of years early, they would have went to the Super Bowl. 2011, that was?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rough. I'd say Chris Boswell's number 2 in the NFL, but he crapped the bed on Sunday. 2 missed kicks. Not great.
Matt Prater's been pretty elite.
Same with Harrison Butker.
Yeah.
You got to give Nick Folk some credit.
Yeah.
This guy's an old man.
I hated Nick Folk when he played for the Jets. He was terrible.
2017 was rough.
Jets, yeah.
2017 was a rough year for him, if memory serves.
Well, his career in New England has been top notch. Got to give him his respect.
By the way, for those that maybe, if you're interested or listening to this after we recorded, the Chiefs had now taken the lead 24-20. I've been going in between that and the game. I haven't watched fully. I'll watch it more in depth later. Last topic of the show, we're going to talk about basketball. Draymond Green, I don't know if we mentioned this in our most recent NBA episode.
No.
Knocked out Jordan Poole in practice. Maybe we don't know if he knocked him out. But
I wouldn't say the report said that he wasn't hurt by the punch, but I think we can all agree Draymond Green's intentions were to knock Jordan Poole out. Yeah.
Draymond is the most self-centered person in the organization. At every step of the way where the Warriors have failed, 2016, his suspension in the finals, 2018, gets into the argument with Kevin Durant, calls him a certain word. And from that point on, there was a crack in the Warriors' armor. And now before the season even starts in training camp, he's sitting Jordan Poole down with a punch. Number one, the fact they got out of the organization on a TMZ is horrific. But number two, this is a new crack and a new evolution of the Warriors' armor where, again, Draymond apologized and took accountability. All of that's great, but it doesn't change the fact he tried to sit down a teammate and did. And when looking at his personality, how volatile he is, it opens the question on a contract year. He's going to have a player option going to 2023 summer. Is this his last year with the Warriors? Stephen A. Smith had something to say about it, coming out and believing, due to his opinion, he's expected to make this his last year in Golden State. Now, he want to be a Laker, according to Stephen A. He ain't going to tell anybody that, but don't think I don't know. He'd prefer to be a Laker if he's going to leave Golden State. Now, when you look at the Warriors' tax issues, Jordan Poole is on an expiring contract. He is more important at 22 years old. And Andrew Wiggins, long-term, is as valuable as Draymond given his two-way ability. They're both on expiring contracts.
John, I want to take it. First off, him on the Lakers would be a terrible fit. Okay, Anthony Davis and LeBron James are probably some of the worst three-point shooters in the NBA. Okay, and I know LeBron can get hot for a streak, but go look at the numbers last year. It was not good at all. And the fact that video did get out, and I saw a report that it was $10,000 apparently that it cost. Like,
yeah, pay me $1 million to leak that.
I feel like this person who leaked it is making a lot more money than just $10,000. That's a little suspicious, but I would imagine they're gonna find that person, and he is, or her, he or her, whichever one it is. But yeah, I mean, listen, Draymond Green. I told you guys before the show that there's the old saying, if your performance is all the way up here, your tolerance can, is fine. They're tolerating everything.
8 months ago, he was the favorite for Depoy.
Okay. How bad of a shooter has he been?
How necessary of a playmaker is he?
So I gotta ask then. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'll let you finish that, and then I'll ask you guys because it's a question for both of you.
No, I know. I just don't understand John's. I don't understand a lot of people's. I mean, I get Draymond as a great player and all, but I feel like we put him on this major pedestal. I feel like there are a lot of people who can do what Draymond does. He's a high-level defender. He can switch 1 through 5. He's a leader. I mean, we're seeing his leadership skills are maybe not as good as we think they are.
That's a preferable mentor.
Preferable. Okay. He is a trash shooter from everywhere on the court, including layups. Yeah, and he's a very high level playmaker. Okay. I can go get a player to do that. Like, you can teach a Jonathan Kuminga to play make. He's already a very good defender, right? And you can teach him to probably be a better shooter than Draymond Green, or more consistent at least. I'm of the opinion I'm not going to take anything away from Draymond. I know it sounds like it, but I'm not going to. He was an integral part of the Golden State Warriors dynasty. It fit perfectly. It was a perfect. It was a match made in heaven of those three guys, the Splash Brothers and Draymond, because of his skill set. But I'm just saying, like, listen, if you say he was the defensive player, but there was stretches in throughout the playoff run where he was becoming an absolute liability on the offensive end. There was one game where he got benched. It's just, listen, are they going to take Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, or are they going to take Draymond Green? I think the answer is pretty, obvious. And Andrew Wiggins was big time for them in that playoff run, especially that finals. Big time.
All right. So then question for you guys. All right. So the dynasty is legit, how great that Warriors dynasty was. Now, if you pull Draymond from it, is it over?
Yes.
Do you think this is the last possible title run if Draymond isn't going to be there for the foreseeable future?
No, because they've set themselves up very well. Steph Curry is still a top-end player. Klay Thompson is just getting healthy. Jordan Poole is on the rise. Andrew Wiggins is coming off a career year. James Wiseman is back, and he looked very good in the preseason. And you still got Kuminga and Moody. We still don't even know what their full potential can be. We know that they are very good defenders and they're athletic. And they've got some other players that are sticky there that are, drifting from my mind right now that I'm not remembering. But no, they're not. The title picture is not done for the Golden State Warriors if Draymond Green leaves.
Dante DiVincenzo, your boy, is the one you may be forgetting.
There you go.
It is, because what Draymond does can't be measured. He is the Dennis Rodman of this generation. You can say, I can replace what Draymond does, the same way people could say now, you can replace what Dennis Rodman does with Andre Drummond. Great rebounder, and, he gets blocks. Ultimately, there is no replacing the effect on both ends that Draymond provides, because while Draymond can't shoot the ball in basketball, passing is more vital than shooting. You can have great shooters, but if they can't get looks, the best way to generate those is through a great passer that's not going to be accentuated or amplified. You can have a poor shooter and a very good passer, but if that poor shooter is getting the open looks, he's going to generate more consistent volume. And I think ultimately, with Draymond's fit in Golden State, you can't just take him out. A guy that can play center for you in a pinch offensively is the perfect guy to elevate Steph Curry in 4-on-3 opportunities that he's always generating, with Jonathan Kuminga, a 19-year-old that's still learning how to play NBA ball, and say, we're still contenders. Because the most underlooked thing in basketball is competitive stamina. It's something JJ Redick, a beloved podcaster now, talks about often on his show.
Be careful about what you're about to say. Are you about to question Steph Curry and Klay Thompson's competitive nature?
No, I'm not. But Draymond is the one that makes it all click.
He's the fuel to the fire.
Great analogy. Steph and Klay are champions. You can't discount what they can bring with intangibles. But Draymond, without him defensively, this is a bottom 10 defense in the league. He's the one that makes them elite. Takes them from, with Steph and Klay coming back from injury, they're a below average defense. Just look at Andrew Wiggins. Look at the effect Draymond has had on him. A guy who didn't defend in Minnesota and took terrible shots. Now that he's playing with Steph and Draymond, with the coach and Steve Kerr, all of that is shifting in a new direction. The culture right now is what it is because of him helping set the standard. He's just had so many of these episodes that really do cost the Warriors championships.
Fundamentally,
I don't think he's close.
I just disagree with the statement. Again, you just said Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, I think you can get him to do the similar things that Draymond's done. I don't think he can do it at the same level that Draymond can do. I don't think he can be the leader Draymond is, but can he defend? Can he rebound? Can he play make? Yes.
Wiggins isn't shutting down Nikola Jokic. Don't go there.
Okay.
You see the defense he was putting on Jokic in the first round?
Did Jokic have anybody with him?
But that's not the point. Jokic was shut down for 2 to 3 games with Draymond guarding him. They can't just slap Kevon Looney on him for 48 minutes and expect it to all be good, or James Wiseman. I'm sorry, this is not how it's going to go for the Warriors.
I get that, but did he have any help whatsoever?
That's not the point. He had some shot makers.
It was literally solely Nikola Jokic. It was the Joker, and that was it. But that's fine. Again, was Draymond even a huge contributor for this finals? I don't think so. I really don't.
Well, getting them there.
Okay, I said, but that's not the question I asked you guys. Yeah. I asked you in the finals. Andrew Wiggins was a much bigger, impactful player in the finals than Draymond Green. He was. He had that huge game where he had 16 boards. And he was playing.
I just don't feel like that kind of talent grows on trees. I don't feel like that mentality can just be easily replaced. While I get that you think that you can teach these other people whatever Draymond does, maybe they can do better on the court. But I also, like John said, he's the heart and soul of the team. So when you kind of get rid of that, it's not the same.
Draymond did struggle to start the series, but in the series clinching game 5 and 6, he was really good for them. And though he got benched, I think it was game 2, he came back from that. And without him, they're not even in that position in the first place.
Okay. I mean, I guess I have much more faith in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson than you guys do.
When the Warriors started off the season 18-2, Thompson wasn't even playing. So they never needed Klay Thompson this year, and they won a championship. Otto Porter Jr. was out playing him to start that NBA Finals series.
Okay, so if Klay Thompson doesn't play, they still win the championship, is what you're saying?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Moses Moody's going to come in this year in his second year and have a really good season. So, yeah. Klay in the past.
Moses Moody is going to take over Klay Thompson's role?
I didn't say that, but I think in the finals, he could have played for them pinch minutes, 10, 15 minutes a game with Otto Porter.
Klay Thompson was playing what? 30
John, who's the most replaceable player on the Warriors in that trio?
He's going to say Klay Thompson because he disrespects Klay Thompson. And he doesn't, but the same thing that Draymond brings, no, you're not honest. The same thing that Draymond brings, Klay Thompson also brings.
No, Klay Thompson's not guarding Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid.
I never said that. I said for his skill set, he's bringing what you need. He's defending guards. He's defending small forwards.
Is he defending LeBron or Kawhi? No, that was Andre Iguodala's role. Iggy won a Finals MVP because that's the job he fulfilled.
He did a crap job if that's why he won Finals MVP.
Well, he did limit LeBron.
No, he did not limit LeBron. He limited the efficiency of LeBron, but LeBron still dropped 30 on his freaking head.
Well, I mean, if you're less productive doing something, you're being limited.
Okay. But he's still dropping 30 on your freaking head.
Klay was perfect on a Kyrie, or really any guard because of his size and his lateral mobility, but he's lost probably some of that and some zap.
Think about what you said. Think about what you just said. One of the most skilled players in NBA history, Klay Thompson, was doing what on him?
Let's not act like he was guarding LeBron.
He was switching on LeBron. Don't act like he wasn't. Don't act like there wasn't moments where he wasn't guarding a LeBron, a Kawhi Leonard, or these elite other forward. Don't act like that didn't happen because it did happen. Like, don't act like Klay Thompson doesn't bring a very special. See, this is the difference between me and John. John's going to sit here and he's going to hype Draymond up to the biggest level, right? And say it was Draymond and Steph. And basically say, Klay, you were nothing to this, and I could have put JJ Redick in there and had the same exact outcome. I'm saying all three of them were a perfect match made in heaven, and that's what made it so special. That's the difference. John's going to sit here and he's going to discredit everything Klay Thompson did for this team and say, yes, he was 100% expendable. Okay. I think you are 1,000% wrong in that statement.
I agree with you.
No, you
My
don't. No, you don't.
negativity on Klay Thompson is because you've listed him as a top 10 player at his peak.
All right, what
He never
other
was.
people's opinions shouldn't affect your opinions on somebody? Let's
We're
just
recording a
point
show
that out.
together, going back
No,
and forth
no,
on
I
Klay.
understand that. I understand that point, but nobody brought up Klay Thompson as a top 10 shooting guard this episode. Justin asked you a simple question: is he expendable? And
yes.
your argument for that is because I list him as a top 10 shooting guard.
No,
Not
there's
because
two different
you
versions of Klay Thompson. The guy that has missed the last 2 years is coming back from
No.
injury.
He talked about the dynasty, John. He did not talk about just the season. He said the dynasty. Who's the most expendable of the dynasty? That's talking early years too. Yes, but you're trying to revisionist history now by saying, no, I was talking about just this year. No, he's talked about the whole history of the Warriors. And you said, I'll take Klay Thompson out. But name the average 3-point shooter. Yeah, they still win the championships against LeBron. Okay, that's 100%. Who's guarding Kyrie then, buddy?
I didn't say that.
Who's guarding Kyrie?
That's my issue.
Who's guarding Kyrie? Is Steph Curry guarding Kyrie? Is this average Joe 3-and-D player guarding Kyrie at a high level? Is he doing that? And giving you 20 a night? Is he doing that?
This year, Dante DiVincenzo comes in, and I say there's not really much of a difference between those two players. Until Klay shows us coming off of all those injuries, he can get back to that level. Right now, he's a replacement level starter. A starter,
replacement
in the moments,
starter.
An Otto Porter can come in and give you the same exact production. A good rotation player. Klay's still a very solid, very good shooter. He's elite as a shooter. Defensively, he wasn't quite consistent. He wasn't quite the guy he was in 2018. And he never was an elite defender. He's always an above average, very good one that on guards could lock them down. Ultimately, I love Klay. I literally did the same exact thing when I played basketball. And I'm not saying the Warriors dynasty could have done it without Klay Thompson.
That's what Justin asked you, though. Justin specifically said the dynasty, who's the most expendable, and you said, without a shadow of a doubt, you said Klay Thompson.
Yeah, but I'm picking between the three. We lost Justin there.
Yeah, you made Justin so mad because you Klay Thompson disrespect that he had to leave.
Yeah, it's true. Let me give him a quick invite back in. But at the end of the day, I still love Klay. It's just, I'm going to be honest, you had him as top 10 player in the NBA, not just as a top 10 shooting guard of all time. So that's where my pushback comes in, being realistic. I don't think he quite is.
Realistic.
The fact that Klay Thompson was never top 15, top 10, he was always a top 25 player, low and
No, he was number 10 in my opinion because of what he did for that team. He's the second greatest shooter of all time. He was one of the best two-way players in the NBA in his absolute peak and prime. And the fact that you draw back on the fact that he's guarding guards at an elite level but not guarding forwards is a little bit.
That's where the money's made.
Okay, but
that's the guys that Kyrie's not winning a championship. Kyrie's getting swept in the first round. LeBron is taking a team to the finals. Those are the elite matchups if you're a truly top of the line defender. But Andrew Wiggins is taking that now.
Wasn't Kyrie the one who made the shot?
Okay, but you're not going to use that in Kyrie's favor of being the better player in the Cavaliers.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he was the guy that made the shot, though, right? And you said that he can't win you championships, but he made a shot that directly impacted a win of a championship.
No kidding. Robert Horry made shots that won the Lakers and Shaq championships.
Okay, but now you're going to compare. All right, so you're going to compare Kyrie and him?
That's just one shot you're talking about.
That is it not an important ass shot?
Without a doubt. I'm just saying LeBron is the reason they won the title.
I'm not saying
Sorry, I disappeared, fellas.
I'm not saying he's not the reason they won the title. I'm specifically saying that you said Kyrie can't win a championship. I'm saying he made a shot that directly impacted a championship win.
Yes, there's a misunderstanding.
Who was guarding him?
Klay. Well, on that play, Steph.
No, it was Steph. Yeah. So, but yeah, again, they could do it without Klay Thompson, right?
It was a semi-transition 3-point attempt, which is why Steph was guarding him. But with that out of the way, the Chiefs are about to take a 4-point lead after this kicker. He missed the field goal. Never mind. Okay, so the Chiefs are only up by 1 point. That's not a great
flag.
Oh, there was a flag, so maybe he gets a second opportunity. But with all that being said, if you guys have anything else, how'd I almost forget? Today, October 10th, is a very important day. And I feel it's one that shouldn't just be highlighted on this very specific day of the year. It is National Mental Health Day. No matter where you are, never feel afraid to open up to the right people if you're going through something. At the end of the day, each and every single person is going through their own battles. We're just trying to overcome them. But if you guys have anything else, especially on that note, be sure to drop it in and we'll head out of here.
We've touched on that before. I believe when we were talking about, I forgot, was it John Wall that opened up about some of the struggles that he had? So just to reiterate the comments that I had then, as a man, we're supposed to be macho. Don't be afraid to talk to anybody. We're human too. So go seek help if you need it. Go talk to the person that you love most if you need it. Don't be hesitant.
Oh, agree with the
That's all I got.
Speak up.
With all that being said, thank you so much for staying to the very end of this episode with us. That was episode number 36. And be sure to check out BetStamp. The link is in the description. And as always, fellas,
stay classy, guys.